Today I'm gonna kinda pretend that I'm a driver coach. It will be the first video that I'll actually make about this coaching, but somebody reached out to me, he wanted to have some tips. I said, do you want to be my guinea pig? And he said yes. So then here is your tips for Spa in the Ferrari. We're gonna look at your lap. This first is gonna be me and you. I will be chasing you down in the video edit. Then we're gonna look at the setup, and then we're gonna look at your lap. I will take out the pain points where you need to improve on. Let's go. The top one will be Dan Carter and the bottom will be me, and I will just commentate a little bit just to make it easy and adjustable. So this first corner, then you're actually doing nothing wrong. It seems pretty decent, and if you can replicate that entry and exit every time, you're in a good spot. But over here on Radion and El Rouge, you need to lift because you're cutting that first corner. You need to go all the way more to the left. Watch this clip back to see the line that I'm taking, and that's actually the difference between lifting and not lifting. And this will carry on this straight as well. And over here as well, you can take more curb, and over here you need to brake a little bit more so you have like a better run up for this corner. But basically it looks pretty decent. It's not a lot of wrong with. Over here as well, you can go a little bit more outside, cutting in. And for this corner, you actually touch the throttle, which makes you understeer. So in that corner, you just need to like be a little bit more patient with your throttle input. Now, this Puhan corner, you're doing really well. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. It's absolutely a great corner take, so that's really positive. And this next section also, I wouldn't say there's a whole lot wrong with this. You're taking a wide line here, you go inside, you're like on the throttle properly. I don't think there's a lot wrong here. And then we get up to this section. This seems pretty decent. Now you let a lot of pace here, and here you need to lift. And you can actually go full throttle with the setup that you're using. So now you can see the top and bottom screen. We are getting really close together because I edited the video like I am chasing you, and we're gonna hit that finish line and you will see the lap difference. Now, just pretty straightforward. And I also think in the chicane you can also like cut that apex here a little bit more, so you have more of a radius for that next part of the chicane, and you can actually accelerate out of that a little bit quicker. Now you did a 20 something, and I did a 218. You can see in the bottom right, I hope. So let's look at that setup that we were using, and I'm also going to share some tips how to maybe adjust this. Let's get into that setup. Dan Carter. So over here, pretty good. Not a lot to add. Maybe you can adjust the caster, increase the caster a little bit, so you get a little bit more of that feedback on your steering wheel. There's not really a science behind caster in this update, just the fact that this is gonna give you more feeling. And as for toe values, I would just put this on 0, but if we continue with the setup and we're gonna look these values, I drove this and I was really surprised how this drove. So that's like something I'm picking up something from this as well. Now, traction control 2, you probably wanna do that off, and the ACU map you wanna do N1 as well. So that will make you faster. If you put this on 1 and this on 0, that's what I would do. If you did a sprint race, you can go for the 1 brake pads or 2, but 2 will be more temperature, like 1 will be like faster, but it's going to be temperature sensitive. It's not really like, it's not going to gain you massive lap time. Over here as well, you have very high wheel rates and a very low bump stop range, which is interesting. And the brake bias is also not super low. It could be a lot lower. Lower brake bias will give you more lap time, and the brake power is not on a full 100%, which is a bit strange to me. As for dampers, no comments. This is just some sloppiness that I also always have. And as for aero, this is what shocked me the most. This is actually a lot of ride height. But then again, on the rear as well, I would drop this down by a whole lot. So just let me show you what I would do with the setup. I have some experience with the Ferrari on Spa, but this is what I would do. 52 or like this. And if you really feel you're bottoming out, maybe you can do like this. A little bit ride height. Dampers do not change. I would always go for the wall full 100%. And as for the wheel rates, I would really put them a lot lower. Like this. Something like this. And you have almost no bump stop range. This means this wheel cannot travel. Now, well, that has its advantages. It will be more safely on entry, but I would try to use a little bit more of this. Like a little bit of play in that front will absolutely help you with rotation. Now, the bump anti-roll bar and the preload differential, I don't think that looks really like strange or anything. Traction control, you can also think about dropping this, but if you're struggling with like oversteer and everything, you cannot actually do this, so you just keep that on 6. And the rear toe, yes, it will probably give you some stability, what you need to look for, but overall, maybe you can also try out doing the lowest camber values as well, and this one 12.6. This is what I would try instead, but that is a lot of change, and that will maybe not be suiting for your driving style. So what if you want to change only one thing? I would just keep everything the same, and I will just drop this with like what this was, 66, and this one I would like try something like this. Now this will be a bit faster, and you don't have a lot of changes in your setup. And you can also try to lower these ones a little bit. I think you can get away with it because you have... I think you can do it. Try this out. So I'm looking back on the video edit and I left something out. ECU map. 1 will be fastest. It will consume your fuel, but it will be the fastest. So use 1. That's just the thing, yeah. And arrow-wise as well, with this latest update, the Ferrari got nerfed a bit. So maybe you can also try even less rear wing for that top speed. But for me, I'm also using the 8 value. That's not a lot of wrong with, I believe. So that's just what I wanted to cut in. Now we're still gonna go to look at that lap, and I'm just gonna show you 3 points you need to focus on for the next time you're on Spa, or maybe use this knowledge in your next races on different tracks. So over here, next time you're in this section, you actually need to be way more on the left, so you open up yourself more for radio, and you can actually hit like full throttle. So this is like the first thing you need to think about. And we go to the next section. Over here as well, you could take more curb here. And what I would do in this instance, I would like try to steer into the corner a little bit earlier than you feel. And then a lot of times you will actually hitting the apex a bit better. And if we go a little bit farther here, you're taking too much speed now into that corner. So over here as well, like in that section, you need to be a little bit slower to cut in this corner more. And you can also cut this corner more as well. And now on this instance, you're a bit too on the right side of the track over here, which is hurting you in that next section. And I really believe you can find like a half a second in this section applying these tips. And if I didn't explain it very well, have a look at some track guides where they explain you this first section, because there are people explaining this really good. Then the next, this is pretty decent. So this part will be awesome. Oh, yeah. So this you actually did pretty well. This is how I would do it. But then here, and this is, don't get me wrong, this is a very hard corner because it's like going like a little bit down, and you have like this issue that maybe the car will oversteer into this corner. But what's happening here is this looks like pretty decent, but then you apply throttle too early. And this means the front of the car will lift up. You will get in an understeer situation, and you actually need to lift here before going up to that straight. And if you were a little bit more patient on throttle, then you can just carry way more speed into that Puhan corner. So yeah, and the Puhan corner you did really good. Let's skip ahead because this section was pretty decent. And this is a very subtle one, but somehow when we go a little bit forward over here, it really feels like you left a lot of speed on the table in that corner. So a little bit more of that like mid-corner speed maybe is possible in this corner, and really work on your timing up to this next section where you don't need to lift, but I understand, because maybe then you invalidate the lap. Yeah, so here you need to lift a little bit to make that entry, but over here I really believe you can take that full throttle even with the setup that you're using. And if we go to the this corner over here, now obviously you're also defending, so that's absolutely gonna affect the way you drive, but I would like go a little bit more outside and cutting in here, making that mid corner speed, like the speed you have on the apex, a bit slower, so you have some more opening up you to that next corner to the left, which you can actually like make more speed out of that chicane, and then you're gonna have that advantage all the way up to that next corner again. So here you need to really use the steering and rotate your car in that last part of the corner. That's what I would do. If you also want to be coached by me or get the tips from me in a video like this, like in public, shoot me a video in our Discord, link down below. And also, people, really put some comments here. What do you think? What did I forget? I'm only a one person. With 10 or with 100 minds, heads and eyes, we can decide, like get way more tips in here. Let's help Dan Carter out to improve his lap time on Spa, shall we?